what are your thoughts on the old Packers defense this coming up season?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. Like, that's kind of been the narrative for a really long time, right? And to people's credit, or in critics' credit, yeah, they were right for a lot of those, right? So, because you look at some of the defenses, you look at like when we've gone to NFC Championship games. I mean, 2014 is a mix of why we lost, but the defense totally crapped the bed at the very end, even though we picked off the ball. We just shouldn't have slid, but that's neither here nor there. 2016, good God, to run the table and gets blown the hell out by the Falcons, right? And Rodgers is just like, I'm glad I showed up. Same exact thing, with against the 49ers. And then with this, you can blame Kevin King, and Scotty Miller before half, but you're 100% right. I mean, they got 3 interceptions on Brady, and the offense couldn't put it away. Now, granted, again, didn't have David Bakhtiari, and Billy Turner really struggled, and, the Bucs have a really good defense, a Super Bowl winning defense, whatever. But I think that the Packers have had a significant problem drafting on the defensive side of the ball for a while now, because you look, and this is right after the Super Bowl season, you look and there are far more misses in the early rounds than there are hits, right? In that, like, we're able to go and get, like the Randall Cobbs and the Devontae Adams and all that stuff in the second round, and that's great and that's wonderful. But you look at like where we miss. I mean, good God, look at the 2015 draft, right? Demarius Randall, Quentin Rollins, back-to-back CBs. Nope, that didn't work out. Josh Jackson, who's still on the team, but he was a second-round pick too. That hasn't worked out. You looked at some of these guys in which they've tried to build the secondary and build that line. Kenny Clark, thankfully, has worked out, but we had to literally go and get edge rushers from other teams in free agency just because we weren't cutting it. And I think now, you have Savage and Amos, and I love that pair as safeties. I think they're going to do really, really well. Savage is progressing nicely, and Amos was so good last year. You have Jair Alexander, who, phenomenal.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that Eric Stokes, brings, that speed and fast play to that secondary, because other than Jair, you have some missing pieces at corner. There's a lot of depth guys that are there. And then when it comes down to, is like you said, the pass rushers. The pass rushers are great, right? And you have the Smith brothers. You have Rashawn Gary, who did real well. On the line, you just have Kenny Clark, and he's just like, anyone want to help? But it's fine. Eventually we'll do that. I know we went after a Florida guy, and was it oh my God, I'm blanking on his name now. The TJ Slayton, maybe the one we just drafted. I think he's like 5th round from Florida. I don't remember his name off the top of my head.
Yeah, I mean,
regardless, I think it's TJ Slayton. Regardless, the guy, we have needed a better D line. Linebackers could go either way, but I think what I like about this is Joe Barry. He has a reputation of not only being a terrible defensive coordinator, but he does have a reputation of making linebackers really, really good. He did it with the Rams. He did it with Corey Littleton, and I think if he can force those linebackers to get better, there's no reason why we shouldn't have a top 10 defense this year. There's no reason. And Sergio's saying that, right? His record as DC is bad. It's straight up bad. And then he goes to the Rams, and you're like, I hope that means that he's good. But I truly am looking at the work he's done with linebackers. And if he could just bring that there, I think the talent is good enough to be good by itself, and scheme would just put it over the top.
Yeah, because that was my thing. Like with the whole 0-16 Lions things, I don't know that 0-16 Lions team, because who looks into a Lions team that went 0-16? But I don't know what kind of
all the jerseys that year.
Yeah. So I don't know if he probably, I assume he had a trash defense. They went 0-16.
Oh, they were god awful. Same when he played with Washington too, because he had a terrible season with them too. But they were garbage. I don't think anyone went to the Pro Bowl. No one got votes. They were just you know what? They're looking over for votes, and Detroit, they're don't even look at it. It's fine. And they just skipped over them. So yeah, they had no talent. We have talent now in multiple places too. I would like there to be talent in other places on the defense, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, I think the Packers always seem to be limited. You can have we have one really good corner, but the rest not so much. Or it's always one. I think we got a good running back group, but usually it's one. Like historically for the Packers,
Sure.
they're lucky if they have one. I mean, like we had him on green. I mean, it depends how far back you go, but like yeah, there's a lot of years like with.
Hey, put some respect on Ty Montgomery's name. Remember that year?
That was rough. I actually had him on my podcast after that. That was interesting. I'm not good enough to have players on that have something to say. I'll say that.
So how'd you get into football?